It is important that you have a sharp eye when it comes to cleaning and sanitation on your farm, specifically with the packing house and packing line. Take a look at this diagram of a packing line so you can understand its flow. Now imagine you are a tomato. Where will you encounter potential hazards or contamination risk? Watch as the tomato moves through the packing line to see where potential risks and hazards can lie. Here, the tomato is coming off the truck from the field. It is in the receiving phase. Some hazards you should look for are cross-contamination from other products, tools, containers, or produce. Were chemicals transported on that same truck? Other raw agricultural commodities or non-covered produce, maybe fertilizer. Is there any standing water or moisture? Is water dripping from the ceiling in this area? Does the farm have a cleaning or sanitation procedure in place if that is the case? After the receiving phase comes the pre-package phase. This is where the tomatoes may be sorted by color, quality, ripeness, or variety prior to being washed. Some produce may need sorting, cooling, or refrigeration before the flow of the packing line process continues. Risks you should look for are standing or dripping water, pest management, storage or handling, tools being used and stored, waste management and cross-contamination from surfaces, workers' hands, or other produce. How are the workers handling the tomatoes? Is there a procedure for hand washing? Are their clothes appropriate? What about the table? Is it adequate for sorting? Are there overhead lights that could potentially drop debris or pathogens onto the produce? Be observant, and if you see a potential hazard, take the time to correct it. Next, we move to the handling, washing and drying, and packaging phases. Observe the workflow from one phase to the next with the tomatoes. Are there food contact surfaces that are not clean? Pay particular attention to surfaces that are likely to come into contact with multiple tomatoes during the flow of produce through the machinery, along with similar questions that are asked in the previous phases. Observe the water quality when washing, the packing materials used when packing. Look at the conveyor belts, surfaces, and drains. What is their cleaning procedure? What type of chemical disinfectant are they using? Is there a residue left over from it that could come into contact with the tomatoes? Is there potential for contamination with any of these items? How are they handling dropped produce? Is there a defined procedure to lower the risk? The final phases are the packaging, storage, and shipment of the tomatoes. Just as before, please take a look at the flow and setup of the line. Along with the standardized questions that should be asked, specifically look for materials used for packaging the tomatoes. Could there be any risk with the tools used? Weight scales, wooden pallets for storage? Are they reusing materials for packing and storage? And if so, is there a cleaning and/or sanitizing procedure in place? How do they stack the produce? How are pests being monitored and controlled? Is there dripping water in this storage area? When the tomatoes are being shipped, be observant. Is refrigeration required? Is there debris in the truck alongside the tomatoes? Make sure to keep that sharp eye as you are examining a packing line. Follow the flow as if you were the tomato or any piece of produce, and ask yourself where risk and contamination could potentially take place. This will ensure that your produce is always ready for consumer use.